Hello everybody and welcome back to another league race. This is the Apex Online Racing GT3 Elite League on the PC platform on Project Cars. And we are back with another race. This time another challenging one. We've had some difficult rounds in recent races. Obviously Nordschleife first of all, then a foggy Donington, and this time it doesn't get any easier. We are at Bathurst, one of the most tricky tracks in the world as well. I'm Fizzy, of course, and as we jump now into qualifying session, my co-commentator as always is Yorkie.
Hello guys, welcome to the stream. It's very good to be back as always, and yet again, like you're saying, another fantastically challenging circuit, another absolutely fantastic circuit as well. Really like this one. Good.
Indeed, yeah, it's certainly an interesting one to drive, and one that really does test the skill of the drivers to the absolute limit. We haven't made it easy for them so far in the second half of the season. I think it's fair to say, as we're now seeing a Khaki kind of scrape the barrier a little bit, a massive cloud of dust, I guess I should say, in the background as you went past there as well. So someone probably crashed it in that started the tricky downhill section, which you can see Khaki struggling his way down at the moment. Khaki, of course, the championship leader after the first 8 out of 12 rounds. So his bottle that particular lap. He's currently P2 in this session, though. And interestingly, it's his teammate Jinda that has demoted him from position and pole. So maybe, Yorkie, it could be a similar story to Nordschleife, though, where Jinja as well was really pushing Khaki.
Yeah, he had a pretty good, strong race there. Like I said, he was leading for the first half of the race or so. Khaki seemed like he had a slightly quicker car, but Dinda had the track position for that first half of the race, and then eventually Khaki managed to get past Dinda until obviously Khaki made a mistake right on the final corner. Very dramatic ending to that race. But yeah, Dinda looking pretty strong at the moment. 4.5 tenths over Khaki, and then Ycoms in the Bentley is only just under half a second, 4.9 tenths of a second to Dinda. So there's 4 thousandths of a second between Khaki and Ycoms,
Wow.
second and third.
That's crazy, and worth pointing out, I guess, we used to see Khaki, of course, in the orange McLaren livery. I guess he's just accidentally picked the wrong one now, because he's showing up in the blue one for me, which is the one that TonyR and Jellyfish tend to use, isn't it?
That is correct, yeah.
So, as we accidentally skip onto a car, which I wasn't meant to introduce yet, but I guess we can update you all on the kind of driver situation now. Last week we pointed out that today and Ramibu unfortunately had pulled out of the league due to time constraints, and it doesn't get any better for Revolution Motorsport, unfortunately. Their final driver, Puff Pirate, has also pulled out of the league, so Revolution Motorsport are out basically, which is a big shame considering it's only like 4 or 5 races since they were leading the team championship, and now they're down in 5th, and with no drivers left it's not going to get any better. But we have got a couple of new drivers in their places, one of them being this guy, Sola, who moved up from the Pro League. Basically, we offered the 2 free spots to the drivers in the Pro League, which is the 2nd division on the PC side. And Sola was the best placed driver out of the guys that showed interest. And he's currently doing a good job up in P6 in the session. The other man that is new, if we can find him, that is Gibbs, who is nearly driving into Mercedes, going down the hill, definitely getting held up there on his qualifying lap actually, currently holding P10 in the session, so not doing too bad a job either.
God help us all with Gibbs.
Yeah, well, he's had an interesting history in AOR, I guess, but you know, he was keen on trying himself again against the top drivers. I guess we'll see how he gets on. But,
Gibbs, I was going to say, Gibbs is fine. It's just everyone likes to kind of take the mick and have a bit of banter with Gibbs. He gives as good as he gets. And yeah, it's a lot of fun, to be honest, but it's good to see these new guys come up. Obviously, raced with Gibbs a couple of times in social races. He's alright, he's got fairly decent pace, he'll probably be in and around the midfield. Stula, I've not heard anything about before, so it'll be interesting to see his approach and progress in his debut race in the Elite.
Solo obviously picked the Bentley for the final 4 races of the season to use, whereas Gibbs has gone for the McLaren. Both of which should be cars well suited to this circuit. I guess we can mention the fact that it's a high altitude track, and the turbo-powered cars of the Bentley and the McLaren should have a power advantage as a result, more so than usual. So, yeah, in terms of information on Sola, I think he's a very new driver to AOR, but in his 3 races he's done in Pro, I believe he won 2 of them, so he definitely has some talent, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, sounds like it. He's got some relatively decent pace, which he's showing at the moment, 203.185.
Oh, Dinda's been moved down to P2, and he crossed the line and he couldn't take it back, so that is Kaki, of course, was taking that then. With a lap time, oh wow, 2 minutes, 1 second, 0.7, so that's 3/10 quicker than Dinda all of a sudden. And we have TonyR now up to 3rd position on a 2.5. Ycoms still sitting on his 3.1. And Gronstra, of course, was won 2 of the last 3 races. Also in a decent position in 5th at the moment.
That's pretty impressive pace by Gronstra, 203.1.
Considering the car, yeah.
Yeah,
non-turbo
the
car.
Z4, which is normally aspirated. Although Papan's got a 203.5, so 4/10 there. Also, the rough isn't normally aspirated as well and doesn't have a turbo, so half a second over the other non-turbo cars. But it will be the turbo cars that will reign supreme here. They will be the quickest, and like we saw last season, where it was basically a Bentley 1-2-3. And then I believe Manu managed to pit Andrex for 4th place in the Audi R8, and then Andrex was either 5th or 6th with the,
oh my word, Papan has
luck.
given up on that lap. He's gone straight into the wall. No, it scared me off my seat there. He literally went straight into the camera.
Oh dear.
But yeah, we just got just over 1 minute to go in the session, so I'm gonna try to see if there's anyone out on the track that is kind of in a decent position. Gronstra is out there. Where is he? He's not too far from the end, actually. We'll try and see where he'll end up, as he's got one corner to go. Yeah, minute to go, and 1 corner to go on this lap for Gronstra. That'll be his final attempt in the session. Can he move himself up from P5 at the moment? He can not do that. He stays in P5 with a 2 minute 3.1. Sola also not too far from the end of the lap, so I guess we'll stay on board with him. Yeah, we were at Bathurst last season, of course, for round 5. Kaki won that race, unsurprisingly. And yeah, like I said, it was a Bentley 1-2-3 with Mini Black and Jinda today there. Andrex was 7th, actually.
Was he?
Yeah.
I know he had some damage at some point. It was doing rather well, battling for 4th with today, and then he dropped back, and I think he may have had a crash or 2 towards the end of the race. But
Centro and Tony both ahead of him.
Yeah.
But here we have the qualifying order for this round 9 of the season. Kaki and pole, again, 3/10 of a second ahead of his teammate Jinda, also in the McLaren, and TonyR in 3rd, Ycoms 4th, Sola on his debut in 5th, they're very solid. Gronstra 6th, Kanuma, Jellyfish, Papan, and Wizard of Nos in the top 10. And we have the rest of the guys there. We were pointing out Gibbs on his elite debut in 12th position, not bad at all for him. And then a bit tricky to see where everyone else was, but they were somewhere on the grid. But yeah, Bronsky's saying he's calling Kaki to be champion today, but I'm not sure. Is that even possible? Is he that far ahead? 65 points. Surely there's more points to get.
I'm not sure.
If he wins, as we now are on the grid actually, which is worth being aware of, but yeah, no cars moving because it's a manual rolling start as per usual. We're going to retire to the spectator box and try to find a camera and then the lead car. If it allows us to scroll all the way up, before scrolling down again. There we go. Kaki leading the grid away for the formation lap. But we need to do calculations on this actually, if there's actually a chance that Kaki can win the championship here today. So he's got a 65-point gap on Kanuma going into this. Obviously after this there will be 3 races to go. And there is...
You're on your own here. I'm terrible at maths.
Yeah, there. Okay, so that's He's already gained one. He's already extended that point by that gap by 1 by taking pole position. That's a point for pole position. It's got a 66-point gap.
Yep.
And then for winning the race, he would get 35 points. Let's say he gets 35, and his and Kanuma and Gronstra both do not get anything. That would give him. That would give him a 101-point gap, I believe.
Yeah.
So that is just about not winning the championship, actually. He could still lose it then if you were to score no points in the final 3 races and Kanuma or Gronstra score basically every point.
The way you're saying is Brownski's assumption is false.
It's false because it's not possible.
It can't happen. Yeah.
So, well, good to break that myth.
Yep, we should probably work that out for
the
next race as to when Kaki can actually legitimately win the championship.
Next week he definitely can win the championship, regardless of what happens today, I think. Well, actually, unless he crashes out of this one and Kanuma and Perigons score top points. But
that's true.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. At the moment, I'm not expecting Kaki to crash out of this one, but you never quite know what will happen. He's crashed out of races before. You'll remember his struggles at Imola in the wet last season. You remember his drama at Laguna Seca. But this season, usually, apart from that one hiccup at Sakito, he's very, very strong all season long.
I just see something really interesting. Rouse is just given the position to Hideaki.
I saw that.
He was in 25th. Hideaki's just got places with him. I mean, I imagine Browski told him.
I don't know.
They didn't set. Neither of them set a lap time.
I guess they agreed between them who's going to be
Hideaki maybe did. I mean, maybe Browski just wants to start dead last.
Sure. Yeah. Sounds like a Bronsky thing to do.
Any trouble. It does sound like a Browski thing to do. But anyway, the guys are formed up in their 2x2 formation. They are rolling down towards the final corner. This is looking very, very cool. Very, very tight. It's actually looking quite colourful, the field.
Yeah.
Interesting mix. It's good weather here for Bathurst, which is nice as well. But yeah, TonyR leading them through the final corner now. And basically from this point onwards at the bridge to the start-finish line, he can go. When will that be? I believe he's actually gone. And the race is underway. Currently just watching TonyR as he gets a little bit close there to Ycoms. Come into the first turn, Gronstra around his outside, but it looks like the first few cars are through that first turn relatively safely. Just quickly jumping back through the field to see that everyone else has made it through safely as well. A couple of 2x2 people. Yep. Doesn't look like we've got the 3 wide that we had last year. This time it looks like people are being a little bit more careful and a little bit better behaved.
Yep. See Gibbs at the moment running in 11th, moved up 1 position. Oh, and there's a Bentley off there. Who's that?
Hello.
Would that be the Wizard of Noz, possibly? Yeah, he's dropped down. I believe that was Wizard of Noz.
It was. He's now in 14th.
Yeah. Kanuma there in 8th. As we move up the grid again just to see where everyone is. Gronstra failed to overtake TonyR out of turn 1, obviously, with the McLaren having more power down that straight. That is unsurprising. Kaki has retained the lead off the start. Also unsurprising. Oh, what's happened there?
Gronstra just hit the wall coming out one of the corners there over the crest. He hit the outside wall quite hard. That's probably going to put a fair amount of damage onto the front of his Z4. Not too sure if it was lag or whether that was actual legitimate contact, because looking at his car at the moment, it seems perfectly fine.
It's hard to say. You can hear a few crash sounds towards the back of the field and a bit of dust kicking up here and there. But it seems pretty much all the cars are going normally. I'm just scrolling through the field side by side between Hideaki and Brownski at the back of the field, the 2 teammates there. So Brownski's taking that back, I believe. Yep, after giving him the position on the formation lap.
Oh, there's a spun set for. Who was that? That was Freda. He was parked there on the outside of the cutting, I believe it is, and he's got some damage to the front of his car, so he'll probably make a trip into the pits at the end of this lap. But Freda saying that he hasn't had any practice for this race beforehand anyway, so he's coming into it completely blind, and unfortunately that kind of thing can happen a little bit too easily. when you approach a track.
Yeah, unfortunately,
in that kind of manner.
It's unfortunate for Freda, because apparently he's travelled like 45 minutes just to be able to race here, which is why I haven't done it in practice, because he's not living at home at the moment for some reason that I'm not quite aware of. But yeah,
dedication.
So, dedication, exactly. Yeah, dedication
Yep.
to be here today, which is obviously great to see. And a big grid as well. 26 drivers, I believe we have here, which is 6 more than last week. So that's good to see as well. They're watching Grunstrap form a little bit of a four-way trainer at the moment, dropping slightly back from TonyR, but just still doing a good job to be high up and holding off these other turbo-powered cars. Actually, yeah, that is Grunstrap, and yeah, Ycoms just ahead of TonyR. So, oh, I keep hearing crash sounds every time people go through here. It's
yeah.
Don't know quite where to look.
It's a tricky corner, that one, because it like you can
Oh,
press
there we go again.
the dip, and then the car goes light as it goes over the crest. So it's yeah, it's a tough one to get right and judge, right, because you want to carry all the speed that you can possibly take through it. You can gain a fair amount of time. Well, but the guy's coming now onto the back straight, looking relatively tidy at the moment. Just watching Sula kind of hold his ground behind Gronstra. This is where he will have the edge over the Z4. Obviously, the Bentley is quicker in a straight line anyway.
Let's
but
see how he
turbo
gains.
power
There we
car-
go. We can see it clearly on the front bumper view.
Yep, he's trying to pick up a slipstream. He did brake coming into the chase just there. Not looking to try and pass Gronstra just yet. At the moment, he's taking it fairly steady for his first race, but good, strong early signs from Sula at the moment.
Yeah, in his debut in Elite, he's showing that he's clearly got the pace to challenge the establishment, I guess we can say. Doing a great job in this debut at the moment. And Jellyfish though getting pretty damn close through turn 1 there, as Kanuma is struggling now a little bit to keep up with this group. Of course, Kaki's main challenger in the championship, even though it's looking very difficult for him after missing Donington. And Sula getting close again to Gronstra. He's going to have a move up into turn 2. He's on the inside, but Gronstra managed to brake late enough to hold the line around the outside just about. That was very, very close. Luckily, no contact between them. All nice and clean at the moment, but Gronstra holding on to that position. Nice to see Sula as well being a sensible driver on that one, and not being too aggressive while trying to make that move as well. And also see TonyR really pressuring Ycoms for third. I think it's been a while since Ycoms and TonyR, it's been a while since both of them has been on the podium, unless I'm mistaken. I'm going to quickly check. Ycoms has not been on the podium all season. I believe he had one podium last season, which was at Zuhai, if I remember correctly.
Yes!
Oh!
Gronstra gone into the wall, coming down into Skyline. There is now down in the S's. It looks like TonyR's had a slight clattering with the wall as well, just in front of him. But we just saw there in the background of the shot, as I was actually following Tony at the time. The Z4 running deep and again clipping the wall as it comes through the dipper. Now into the forest elbow. I managed to bring up a track map so I can use all the actual corner names. But this is going to give Sula a really good opportunity to try and slip past. Gronstra is going defensive to the inside, but Sula's got the straight line speed and is going to slip past before they actually get to the chase.
Oh, and here comes the McLaren.
Jellyfish, man.
Oh, there's contact!
There's a little bit of contact between the two as well. Kanuma sliding through as well. Surely Gronstra's going to have to pit. He's probably got too much damage to hold on to this for the moment. He's going to be well down on straight line speed. That the Z4 is going to be slow on anyway. Papan's trying to get involved as well. Papan is probably going to have a no. I thought he was going to have a little bit of a look down the inside coming into the final turn, but he thinks better of it at the moment. Gronstra staying out, but he's gone and lost 3 places, slipping down from 5th place down into 8th.
Yeah, crazy that. I'm not quite sure. I think there was a little bit of a misunderstanding maybe with Gronstra and the McLaren coming past her on the straight. Maybe Gronstra didn't quite see the pace at which he was closing, and then ended up I don't know, I'm not going to give blame on anyone on that because it happened very quickly, but of course Gronstra, the man losing out in the end, and now under attack from Papan going into turn 2. But again though, he does well under brakes, as there's smoke kicking up, and that's Kanuma, and that's the McLaren, that's Jellyfish as well. It's all kicking off now after a few laps in the race, and Papan and Gronstra then have gained a couple of positions as a result of that. So Jellyfish and Kanuma both down. Didn't quite see what caused that, but both of them definitely must have come together And behind as well, Gibbs is in 10th and holding on by the skin of his teeth to the Wizard of Noz. Going up the hill there is not a section where you want to be side by side. And Noz as well under pressure from Claessens. But really, this is kind of a single file section considering it's very, very tight. Walls literally right next to the white line. So yeah, it's going to be tense times for these guys as they now drop down the hill for the 4th time in this race.
Yep, this top section across the mountain, there's basically no way past pretty much anywhere down along this section. Maybe coming into the dipper, turn 18, which they're now coming into now. If you're late enough on the brakes and you can send up a lunge down the inside and the person you're alongside is very trustworthy and sees you coming, you may be able to make a move.
Ooh, welcome to Tony.
Just
going side by side.
Hold on to the position. Yep, just jumping up to them now. It looks like TonyR's got the move done under braking around the outside of Ycoms before they get to the apex. Did Ycoms brake a little bit early there? I kind of picked up a little bit late.
TonyR, he did manage to get past him before the braking zone, or at least get his full car ahead. Obviously, he made it stick under braking. But yeah, I think that was just a case of TonyR probably getting the better speed out of the corner at the bottom of the hill, and then using the slipstream to his advantage to get a move done on the straight. So good job by him to move himself up into the podium position. I guess that's a good time then to check what I was going to check earlier as to whether he has been on the podium this season so far, and the answer to that as well, just like with Ycoms, is no. TonyR has had a 4th place and a 5th place, but he's not been on the podium this season. Unusually, the man, of course, who finished 3rd, if I remember correctly, in the championship last season.
Yeah, TonyR had a pretty good, strong season last time round. This time he struggled a little bit more, possibly to do with the 2 times tyre wear at the start of the season. Obviously, this is a track that he knows pretty well. I've seen him race around here a few times. Derby, you're looking for a strong result, and actually I want to point out that Sula's had a very, very good lap on the previous lap, a 2:04, whereas Ycoms did a 2:05.5, so a second half, and he's already closed up towards the back of the Bentley. So now that Sula has been released by Gronstra, he's starting to show some really good signs of some strong pace. TonyR's managed to pull away from Ycoms as well, as TonyR actually did a similar lap to Sula on the previous lap, despite making the overtake to take 3rd place. But yeah, looks like Sula may have a slight edge over Ycoms here as they now come onto the back straight.
Yep, going down towards the chase, and both in the same car, the Bentley. There could of course be some setup differences between them in terms of the turbo power. They should be on equal terms there going down the straight. Sula with a bit of slipstream though, which is probably why it's just edging him tiny bits closer, but on this occasion it's not going to be close enough going into the chicane. But it's definitely closing that gap, and surely will be challenging Ycoms very, very soon for that position. Look on course for a very strong debut here in his first elite race after 2 wins in the Pro League previously to moving up now. Further back you can see Gronstra has got lots of scrapes on the right side of his car, but he's still holding on ahead of Papan, and then Jellyfish is now also close behind. Kanuma has yeah, because of that incident he's got quite a gap ahead of him now. They're still in the top 10, and Gibbs is not far behind actually on his elite debut as well, so I have to say quite impressed by him.
Ycoms is starting to come under pressure a little bit from Sula. Sula was closing up, coming along that mountain straight up towards turn 2 of Croy. Now looking pretty close, and Sula's looking a little bit eager to try and slip past Ycoms as soon as he possibly can. Ooh. Very, very close there as they came into that tight left-hander. You can make a move down the inside there if you're good on the brakes, but it's still quite a tricky place, and now it's basically just a single file from here pretty much all the way down to the dipper on the other side of the mountain. The only time that you will be able to remotely get a chance if someone makes a massive mistake, sticks himself in the wall and basically loses all momentum. But for the moment, Ycoms doing a good job of keeping the car between the white lines nicely under control. Just let it flow down this section, take it nice and easy, nice and steady. And I imagine Sula will probably be wanting to try and line himself up for a decent, actually doesn't make contact with the wall. They're coming into the dipper, actually lost the rear end of the car a little bit under braking, which is really easy to do as it kind of, you go over a crest and the car goes light. It is quite easy to lock the brakes there. It looks like he has just about managed to get away with it. There is a tiny little bit of damage to the front of his car, and he has obviously lost on ground to Ycoms, but for the moment, looks like the car's still going in a straight line, and he should be able to continue on with that.
Indeed, as Gibbs is now coming under pressure from the Wizard of Nos, who's had to take it a little bit to the grass through the chase there, the very fast corner before the chicane, and there's been slight contact. Nos has touched the rear of Gibbs' car. Maybe Gibbs didn't quite leave him enough room there on the outside, and both of them have lost severe amounts of speed through the chicane. Gibbs has dropped a position to Claessens, who's coming through, didn't quite get enough of an advantage to come through on Nosdra as well, and now Gibbs is going to be under pressure from Amaze in that BMW M3, but onto the straight now, where the McLaren should have the advantage over the M3 at this particular circuit. So yeah, a bit of a drama there between those two, and Gibbs dropping out of the top 10 as Jellyfish is getting close to Papan. I was just jumping onto him there. Quickly checking on Sula. No, he's not quite coming close again to Ycoms since dropping back, so we'll focus on that, I think, on the trio battling for 6th at the moment. Pretty close together as they now go up through the single file section once again. And again, Gronstra getting super close, a bit too close to the wall.
Yep, I was probably more just lag more than anything. Obviously, it would have been got very close, but it wouldn't have been that much of a tap. The very gentle kiss against the concrete barrier that still going on for the moment as they come down the other side. Hopefully Sula will be a little bit cleaner this time round. The thing is, it does get a lot more difficult as you go on through the stint, as the tyres start to wear away. Kind of, you lose grip, and it just makes that section even more tricky. You've obviously got to account for that. Now coming down the back straight, currently just watching Papand. He's closing up very slowly, but also surely to the back of Gronstra as he's picking up the slipstream. Now coming through the chasing and into the braking zone. Isn't anywhere near close enough this time to try and make a move. But it looks like Gronstra's picked up the pace a little bit now that he's got Sula there not too far in front of him. Got a target to aim for, and for the moment he's sticking to the back of the Bentley with just a couple of car lengths between the two.
Yep. Doing a good job, and getting very close on the braking, but then of course it will be a struggle to keep up on the straight. He was a little bit wide there, I think, as well, going out of the corner. Maybe Papan could get closer, but no, it doesn't look like he's getting fast enough to get near by turn 2. He's gonna show himself in the mirrors a little bit too far back to make a move. Let's move down to Gibbs again, who is potentially making a move on Claessens. They're going to go side by side into turn 2. Gibbs taking to the outside with Claessens defending. Can Gibbs do what Gronstra has done earlier and hold it around the outside there? He can indeed. Impressive driving from Gibbs to go back into 11th position here through turn 2 on a man in Claessens who's had some also very impressive performances this season. So he's one top driver, and Gibbs showing him some overtaking skills on that one. And Claessens though is trying to fight back, but this is such a tricky section of the track, as we've seen already. Macy dropping back a little bit, Martin van der Bent, AJ and Andrex running in the final 3 points positions at the moment. Tipple just outside with Rhaegar there as well, getting super close to the wall. And then danger to Gianetta and Hideaki battling further down the field.
You're at Centro, just having a look through the field. Brownski's retired from the race. He is in the garage, and it looks like he's got quite a lot of damage to the front of his car. And he's saying that he hit a curb, which spat him into the wall.
Right, apparently we need to pay attention to the chat. And apparently Mini Black is out of the race, which is a shame, of course. So it's not good for Wheelie Bad, of course. Him and Brownski both part of the Wheelie Bad team. Guess Hideaki, yeah, Hideaki's still going, but outside the points though, so it's looking like it's not going to be many points for them today, unfortunately. Living up to their name on this particular night. But yeah, still looking at the close train here. which is Sola is now taking the lead off ahead of Grunster. It was previously the Grunster train, now it's a Sola train after maybe dropped to the back of Ycoms. And again, Papan just getting his car firmly planted in the mirrors of Grunster, but again just doesn't have the power in the car to get close. Jellyfish sitting behind as well in the McLaren with the extra power, with the turbo, but also not able to capitalize at the moment. So anything else we have missed in the chat, I wonder? Fizzy and York out of the race, okay. That's sad as well.
Oh, that was a few cars hitting the wall there.
Yeah.
Going out the top, I believe Papand and also Gronstra both clipped the walls there, and Gronstra has actually lost the car. Oh my god! He's across the skyline section there, the chicane. He's got a slowdown penalty for it. He's got to make contact with
turn
Jellyfish
into Jellyfish as well.
What is going on there? Gronstra lets Jellyfish go, but Jellyfish is not going to be happy with that. Also held up Papan quite a bit there too. I'm not too sure what happened with Gronstra. He looked like he was just losing the car going over the skyline, coming into turn 11, 12 and 13. Went straight across. He obviously would have picked up the slowdown penalty for cutting the circuit there, but yeah, momentary chaos for a few seconds.
That is what can happen so easily going down the hill. At this particular part of the track, because it's literally when someone does make a mistake around there, and you can't really blame anyone for making a mistake going down there, because it's such a tricky section. As Gronstra now pits to repair the damage that he sustains, and surely changed tires as well. Some fresher rubber on that car. Yeah, and obviously I don't think he did anything wrong against Papan, because he obviously just recovered from his crash and then he lifted to let Papan safely through. But I think little lack of awareness for a split second there, and it turned into Jellyfish, and we can only hope that Jellyfish, of course, didn't get any major damage as a result of it. His car seems relatively okay at the moment. Can be deceiving, of course, from the spectator mode, but he seems to be driving on relatively nicely, but of course we'll have lost some time as a result of it.
Yeah, we'll need to keep an eye on his lap times to really see what kind of damage he has got. Obviously it'll be really difficult to see suspension and aero damage, apart from obviously the dents in the car. That will kind of show a little bit of aero damage, but the lap times is where it'll really show, because obviously it'll hurt him down the straights and also affect the handling in the car. You lose a little bit of the confidence, and your lap times will drop because of that, but hopefully Jellyfish will be able to continue on unharmed, like we've been saying. I was going to quickly say earlier, before that drama unfolded, that was a rather nice move by Gibbs around the outside into turn 2.
Yes.
That was a good few laps ago, and just jumping up through the field, it looks like the top 3 has spread out quite a bit. Kaki's just going past pit entrance now and into the final turn, making the apex there. Dinder's just come out of the chicane, and so does TonyR. Is TonyR catching up with Dinder?
Maybe, yes. Let's check their previous lap time, actually. 4 times quicker.
3.5 temps.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see on this one, they're going to cross the line now as well to update the previous lap time. Dinder's done a 3.3, Tony's done a 3.3 as well. So on this particular occasion, they were pretty much identical in terms of lap time. But I think if Tony manages to keep his focus and stay consistent here, I think there could potentially be a battle for second by the end of this race. That would certainly be something I'd love to see if that does happen, in the same car as well. That would be cool. Ycoms is about 5 or so seconds behind those, probably, or maybe 10 even.
Yeah.
Quite a distance there, and then Sula and Papand now close together, coming into turn 2. The Danish Gaming TV is speculating that Sula has the pace to get a 4th or a 3rd position, potentially. He is in 5th at the moment, but he has to, at the moment though, I think he's more focused on Papand just behind him than potentially moving up in the field. We did see earlier in the race that he seemed to have pace over Ycoms, but it's not quite happened for him in the last 3 or 4 laps after he made that little mistake that dropped him away from him. And Papan has made a big mistake there, completely lost it. That was a weird place to lose it. to be honest. But he completely clattered the wall there, and I wonder if that's gonna be surely some damage that he might want to repair. We'll have to see at the end of the lap. But Yorkie, wow, that was a big hit.
Yeah, it was. It is a little bit of an awkward place, but it can happen quite easily as well, especially in the roof as well, which is a really quite a bouncy, bumpy car. If you haven't got the damper set up quite right, the car could bounce around a little bit too much and unsettle the car, which is what it looked like had happened as it went over the crest there. But that'll be a big hit for him. He won't be too best pleased with that. That was obviously his own doing, no one else was involved, but going to be a little bit frustrated with himself there, as he was rather close to the back of Sula and looking slightly stronger as well on the previous lap. It actually taken a second out of Sula on the previous lap. For the moment he stays out, so he doesn't pit for the moment. We'll see if he continues on and see if he can close that gap back down. But I was going to pick up that Sula was about 0.4 of a second slower than Ycoms on the previous lap. It's interesting to see the guys come up from pro and semi-pro, as a lot of them have pace, but it's interesting to see if they've got the long race pace and can manage the tyres as well as some of the guys in Elite can. Obviously, very much on the driver. Drivers have their own, yes, I want to say perks, but not really perks, like advantages, disadvantages, just, you know, the way they go about racing. Their racecraft. Papan hits the wall again, coming into the hairpin there.
Not ideal, but yeah, definitely. All the drivers have like their certain
strengths and weaknesses.
Strengths and weaknesses is the right
those are the
phrases to use. Yes, and obviously, some drivers like certain tracks and certain cars, whereas others don't, and all that kind of jazz. Some, you know, are better at racecraft, some are better at keeping consistent, some are better at flat-out pace. And of course, if you're good at all of those, you are an absolute top-class driver.
Alien.
An alien, as they tend to be called. Gronstra, after pitting, is down in 21st position and trying to pass Dangerous Ginetta, the only Ginetta car in the league. Going up the hill. Let's keep an eye on this, actually. It'd be interesting to see whether he has managed to shake off that frustration from making that mistake earlier and managed to safely get himself past Dangerous Ginetta without causing anything else. I saw Bransky point out in the chat that or remind us in the chat, I guess, that Gronstra actually... Oh, as Martin van der Bente has spun it, and he's also rejoined it on the racing line. Basically doing a Gronstra and Gronstra there. So, maybe some karma coming back. Obviously, Gronstra didn't do it on purpose, obviously, but that would be further frustration for him. Van der Bente also an error of judgment in terms of when he rejoined the track. But yeah, I was going to say, Gronstra actually has... 45 penalty points gathered throughout the season because he had some incidents, and pretty big ones, in the early part of the seasons, or the season when he got taken to the studs on several occasions. And for those who don't know the AOR penalty point system, if you get up to 50, your position in the league is put under review basically, and you might get removed. So he'll be hoping that Jellyfish doesn't take that to the studs, I think, on that one, and hopefully we can get away with that. But for now, let's try and get an overview of everyone. Of course, Kalki with that 10-ish second gap still intact to Dinda, and I don't think TonyR is really close anymore since when we last checked their previous lap. Yeah, actually Dinda's gained 2/10 back now. But TonyR maybe starting to struggle a little bit. And
oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I'm just watching the battle for 15th and 16th place, both Tipple and Silver Arrow.
Oh my!
Into the hairpin and hit the outside wall. This has actually gone and allowed Hideaki to slip up into 16th place. The three of them were pretty close together, kind of slightly less than the distance that they were beforehand, as Tipple goes and scrapes a barrier there, coming out the exit of that left-hander. Trying to remember the name of it. It's called Solman Park.
All right.
But yeah, just looking at the track map on the laptop next to me. But it's yeah, the two of them were looking pretty close together, or should I say three of them, and then yeah, they had that slide, and Tipple's looking like he's got a fair amount of damage at the moment. His car seems to be wiggling around all over the place. See down this back straight though how much damage he's actually got, as Hideaki's looking in pretty good shape at the moment in terms of the condition on the Z4. They obviously have the slipstream over the roof as well, and there you can see the speed difference. They're coming side by side just before they go into the chase, and it looks like Hideaki's got the move pretty much done and dusted before the little chicane there. He manages to get it slowed down, lots himself up into 15th place. Wonder if Tipple will dive off into the pits here. He does not. Neither does Silver Arrow.
Nobody has pitted yet, and Tipple with a massive slide through the final corner there, and losing out potentially to Silver Arrow as we are heading pretty much the halfway point of the race. If people feel like they well, have planned to do pit stop in this race, we'd surely see it, you know, in the next lap or two. But Yorkie, I don't know, I can't remember from last season, but are we expecting any pitters here today?
I'm not too sure. Brownski's saying it is a zero stop is possible, but it's Brownski. He's known pretty
No,
well
for tire wear.
or
for tire saving
managing his
skills.
tires pretty good. Yeah, so we may see one or two people pit. I'm not too sure. I can't remember off the top of my head what other people were doing, but yeah, jump through the field and see if we can find some more people relatively close. Maisie and Clarsons aren't too far apart.
Oh,
About 4 tenths of a second between them. Pretty close together.
yeah,
Coming down the other side of the mountain.
Cousins, who got passed by Gibbs, of course, that famous, or now famous, around the outside move, turn 2. A few laps ago, and it's a drop back from him as well. And now has Maisie to contend with. Man has been in the league for a long time versus a man who's been in the league for just under a season. This is Cousins' first full season, whereas Maisie's been here all the way since season 1, when even I was racing. And even before you started racing, Yorkie.
Yep.
So a long time ago. It's pretty much a year ago, isn't it? At this point. That's gone past so quickly, man. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Where has the time gone?
May the 7th or 8th.
You should know
I
when
think
this
it was
game
May
was
the
released.
Pretty sure it was May the 8th that
Yeah, that
Project
sounds
Cars
about right.
was released
Yeah.
in the UK at least anyway. I know it was released a day earlier here or there around the globe. But it was around then. So yeah, a good year and a few months.
Indeed. So Kanuma is in 18th. We got a car going slow back there. Gronstra is in the pits again. Okay, something's happened again, which I haven't quite understood here. I saw
More
Tipper going
damage?
slow out of the chicane. He's got some scrapes on the right side. Blue right now going up to 20th because Gronstra's in the pits again. So yeah, might be some more damage. It's been a nightmare race from Gronstra after a series of really impressive drives in recent races. This has been a nightmare for Gronstra today. Luckily for him, though, in terms of the championship, Kanuma has also had major problems. He's not even in the points. Have you seen what? Did you see what happened to Kanuma?
No, I'm not too sure, but Gronstra's just been lapped. Kaki's just gone through.
Wow.
So this is certainly going to be a race to forget.
It's
for,
nearly.
Gronstra.
It's nearly. It is basically going to be on the limit of Kaki winning the championship because as it stands, he's two challengers that can actually do anything about him. Kanuma and Gronstra are both out of the points, whereas Kaki's on course to win. But as we worked out, there's a few points.
Oh, there's a roof in the wall.
Oh, AJ's in the wall. Oh, that's going to be him out of the race. He's firmly planted in that tire barrier. I guess he's trying to reverse.
Should be able
Otherwise,
to.
yeah.
Should be able to get it out there.
Maybe he's just taking a coffee break. Well, he's
Quick
gonna
loose stop.
sit there for a while. And another roof in the wall. The
Tipple.
that team. Really rough racing, running 18th to 20th now, and also not having too much. I don't think Blue Rat's been in the wars too much. I think he's This
Got a little bit of a scrape on the right hand side, but not much at the
and
moment.
he goes past Hipple, has his front bumper hanging off there.
Yeah.
That team, another nightmare for performance, and AJ still sitting in the wall, so that's interesting. Let's move.
Matt and Van der Pet's in the wall as well. It's all going off between the
Oh,
number of drivers.
Kanuma is back in the points all of a sudden, in 16th now. He's not giving up, and he's going up the inside of a car that is probably Freda, potentially. I'm going to guess.
Yep.
Yeah, Freda.
It is, yep.
We did well there to hold on around the outside. Just with the later braking, but now we've got that Aston Martin just behind, which tends to be slightly faster on the straight line. And Kanuma's now going to look up the inside into turn 2. Can Freda take advantage? We've seen, yeah, he can indeed. We've seen the driver on the outside going into turn 2 typically actually wins out on that battle just from the ability to brake later and hang it round. Because it's such a corner where you can actually do that. But yeah, I guess another recovery drive from Kanuma, similar to what he was at Nordschleife as well, where he's just trying to pick up whatever he can. He's surely giving up on the championship, and now considering Kaki is on course to win this race. But at least in the battle with Gronstra for second, he, despite being on in 16th, he's looking in better shape at the moment.
Yeah, there's the turn 2's got some nice cam. Oh, no, Fred's gone and hit the wall a couple of times, coming down through Starline and then down into the S's section, which they're running through now. He's gone and lost a little bit of a gap to Kanuma. Kanuma's closed back up. Once again, this is probably playing to Kanuma's hands coming down the Conrad straight here. They have the slipstream and the slightly higher top speed. Fred's going to have to hold to the inside, but
Something's
Kanuma's
happened.
Go for the inside. It'll go side by side now as they come in towards the chase. It looks like Kanuma's got the position taken before they actually get there. It's all going to be about the braking zone. Will the Z4 come back at Kanuma? He's going to try and go around the outside. There's contact between the two, maybe. There was a little bit of lag there for me, and the cars were kind of warping around. But they're gone through for the moment, and Kanuma's slipped himself up into 15th place, but Freda is holding on very close to the back of the Aston Martin. He'll probably be pretty eager to try and make the position back.
But breaking news, something has happened to Papand. He's down in 12th. He was in the pit lane while that battle was going on. He was, of course, up in 6th position. If I remember correctly, he was holding on from Jellyfish, who was just behind him from the times that I saw, or the gap times that I saw. So something might have potentially happened between those two, or Papan has just made a mistake on his own and got damaged. But either way, Papan's now been in the pits and dropped down to P12, so another driver who was fallen victim to the walls here at Bathurst. You can see the guys in the top 5 at least have had pretty straightforward races. Sula, we saw him make a slight mistake earlier on, but apart from that, a very nice and consistent drive for him so far. Ycoms still running in 4th position, having just lapped Dangerous Gianetta there, and has not made any mistakes really, even though his pace is not quite up to top 3 at the moment. And between TonyR and Jin, has anything changed? TonyR gained
really.
1/10 on the previous lap, but yeah, the gap does seem pretty much identical to what it has been, doesn't it?
Yeah. Hopefully this will close up towards the end of the race. Provide some good action here at the top, the sharp end of the field. Was mainly paying attention to further back down. But I was going to say, Papan did have his moment earlier on when he was just behind Sula at the top of the mountain. He possibly may have just been a dive into the pits for new tyres and to get the damage repaired. I mean, this car doesn't look too amazingly bad. There's a little bit of damage at the back of the car, but nothing horrendous, what I can see.
The only reason I kind of assumed that something bad might have happened is because I looked at the stream with the gap times between drivers, and he had 0.2 gap to Jellyfish behind, I think, and then I obviously skipped onto him, and he was going to the pits. So
yeah,
you never quite know. But
reports that Tipple is now retired from the race as well. Understandable after the amount of damage that his car was suffering. Yeah. Looked like he'd gone banger racing more than GT3 racing.
But Silveraro hitting there as well. He's obviously a lap down on Kaki. And out of the points. Let's just move up through the field. Blue right now on the edge of the points all of a sudden in 17th, even though he's got a big gap up to Rhaegar. Red at 15th after clattering the wall a few times and being passed by Kanuma a lap or so ago. So he's running in 14th on course for a few points. What are you seeing?
Freda just clipped the wall again, just as you were saying that.
That's becoming not such a big deal anymore at this stage, because we've seen so many clips of the wall so far this race. But there's still quite a few drivers going though, has to be said. All the way down to, unless Silver Arrow went in the pits to retire, it seems like he's in the pit box and just freshening things up.
Oh, Papan made serious contact there with Andrax, just coming into the dipper, just jumped to them, seeing Papan just kind of come out of nowhere really. I mean, he was relatively close to Andrax, but just lost it completely under braking and slammed into the side of Andrax and then slammed into, well, both of them slammed into the wall on the outside. Papan has let Andrax go and given a sizable gap there, but Andrax won't be too pleased with that. He'll probably put a fair amount of damage onto his car. Obviously, possibly some damage to Papan as well. Andrax for the moment staying out, as does Papan, but yeah, quite a big clattering together between those two there. Rather unfortunate to see. I was just kind of jumping through the field.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't quite have replays, so we can't see. I can't show you. I guess you saw it, but I can't show you exactly what happened. I jumped it a little bit too late, but Papan is now going to try to repass Andrax, is he? Potentially, if he can get enough power, as he is able to get alongside. I think Andrax might have even lifted there, judging by how fast he suddenly gained there at the end of the straight. So Andrax just either had enough of holding on from Papan, or just feeling that he's got the pace anyway and it's going to be too difficult to hold on for 10 laps. So yeah, Papan up into 11th then. Clausen's the next man up the road for him, and Maze is still, well, actually still, I say still, he's close up to Gibbs.
He has?
Yeah.
You're right.
Be a battle that we might want to keep an eye on. I'll go on the bumper cam again, just going down the drop, down the hill, just so you can get a better feel of how tight this is. And of course these drivers, most of them anyway, using the cockpit cam, and meaning it will be even harder for them to spot the turning points and the distances to the wall. But Amazy doing a decent job at the moment, gained over a second on Gibbs on the previous lap, so he's definitely at the pace at this stage of the race on Gibbs.
Indeed, just coming through the chicane, as that's probably why Gibbs was ran out a little bit wide there. That would have cost him some time and momentum all the way down towards the final turn, Murray's corner. And you can see the gap has visually closed up between the two as well. Got 9 laps to go in this race. At the moment, it hasn't really changed between the guys up at the front. So we'll stick with these two for the moment, as these two do seem like the quickest driver, unless someone shouts in the Twitch stream saying that there's a gap that they can see developing.
Yeah, let us know, guys, if you can see someone super close that we suddenly missing for some reason. But yeah, I think this is the closest in immediate battle that we've got going at the moment anyway. For 8th place in the race. Both of the debutants then looking on course for strong top 10 finishes, which more than as Gibbs touches the wall there. We've seen it a few times, but he has probably lost a little bit of speed going up the hill there, but has gotten away with it, I think. But yeah, he's doing a good job at the moment, but Maisie looking fast and will surely challenge him. If not down the hill, then at least on the straight coming up.
Yeah, he's closed up quite a bit going along the top of the mountain there. I think Gibbs was just trying to regather his bearings after clipping the wall. He did seem to be wiggling all over the road, but he's back on the racing line where he should be. Got the car going in the right direction, but he's gone and lost an awful lot of time because of that. Maisie looking underneath the rear wing and will be trying to pick up the slipstream of the McLaren. It should help him down the straight. The McLaren should be the quicker of the two cars though, because obviously it's got the turbo, able to still push out same amount of horsepower that it would have no matter what altitude it is at, whereas the BMW will be at a disadvantage. It also actually affect braking as well. Will be thinner air. It will make it a little bit more difficult to actually cool the brakes and also actually decrease braking performance, but that's less noticeable and a little bit more minor to the actual horsepower difference between the two cars. For the moment, Gibbs is still holding on, and Maisie is still sat behind them. Being in the chat, there's a little bit of a conversation, debate going on about the 2 times tyre wear that we had previously compared to the 1 times tyre wear that we currently have.
Yeah, feel free to debate that.
Yeah,
I'm sort of tired about that debate, but considering how much it was had in the forum. But
yep.
Yeah, there's arguments for and against, but ultimately, overall, there was a majority arguing for a change back to times 1.
Yes.
I'm not going to list all the arguments because I think I'm going to leave something out. But I know at least one of them was that on 1 times it gives you the ability to push more instead of focusing on the tire saving more. I think, which is probably a big deal for some of the drivers.
Yeah, I felt like previous seasons the stint length felt about right in terms of tyres. Like you have a lap or 2 of just kind of getting the pressures in, and then once the pressure's in, you've got a decent 6-7 laps of actual decent pace before the tyres actually start dropping off. And they kind of drop off in more gradual stages rather than in relatively big chunks, is what the drivers were saying previously, where they basically had 5 good laps, and then after that the tyres are gone, and it's basically just holding on for dear life, and it's more a battle of survival rather than like I say, focusing on actually pushing and trying to race. I mean, they made the first couple of races very entertaining from our standpoint, the spectators, but ultimately, if drivers aren't too happy, then the drivers won't race, and that then obviously in turn affects the spectacle for us in terms of the racing. So that was the reason why it was switched back to 2 times tyre wear. Jumping back through the field again. I was watching.
It's kind of a bit of a dilemma in ways. I think you think about Formula 1, don't you? And you think, the balance between happy drivers and happy viewers, which isn't always corresponding.
Yeah.
Because some of the things the drivers want may not be the things that generate the most excitement in terms of passing and stuff, but then and arguments for the opposite as well. But it's hard. I think in a league race format, it's the drivers' views are the most important, because kind of the spectator and streaming and stuff comes as a secondary feature. Because obviously leagues are aimed purely at giving the drivers an enjoyable time, most of all. Even though, of course, you want to have intense, entertaining streams as well. But yeah, it's you definitely have to respect the driver's view, I guess, is what it comes down to.
Yeah, definitely. I just jumped back up to the battle of Gibbs and Maisie. It's quite interesting to see where these 2 drivers differ in terms of their strengths and weaknesses, which we did mention earlier, as Maisie kind of had a little bit of a look down the inside of Gibbs there coming into the dipper, but it certainly seems like Gibbs has the edge down over the straights, basically the first and second sector. But when they actually get to the mountain section, Maisie's looking a lot stronger out of the 2 cars. I mean, the M3 is very, very good with its downforce. It's very efficient, and you can see gone and lost some ground coming down the straight as well. So possibly Gibbs is probably running a slightly lower downforce setup compared to Maisie. He's probably trying to maximize the aero performance of the M3 going over the top of the mountain, and in a way it makes logical sense. I mean, the more downforce you have for the corners, the safer the car kind of feels, and on the track like this, you need to take that into consideration, the whole survival element, as it's quite a long race, and the risk with the walls being very, very close is quite high. You got to factor in the risk versus reward side of things.
Definitely. a question in the chat just pointing out or asking if Project Cars has rain, and yes, it does. We did have a very wet race a few weeks ago at Road America, or a month or so ago. I think that was round 5 or something, where it was heavy rain, and drivers had to cope with that. Went reasonably well. So it's definitely a thing. I'm not sure if we have any more wet races scheduled, as I've been told now to check out Papand. Oh, and that is good shout, because he's right in the back of Claessen's now. Yep. Obviously, he will have pitted. Well, he's one of the very few guys. Very few guys who have pitted, and will have fresher tires than Claessen's. And Claessen scraping the wall massively there, going up the hill, giving Papand that opportunity to slip himself past it. Oh, and again, and he just saves it from the other wall, but then it goes in the same wall again. So Claessen's had
that time.
Yeah. Oh, that's gonna be hurting. That is Gronstra's teammate, of course, is now about to suffer the same fate potentially, same fate even. Oh, there we go again. And he will be hoping. There is no one coming down the hill. There's is that Andrex going through? There is Kanuma going through. Traverse, and that's the clear attack, and he's retired. He's gone upside down in the garage, and that is him done and dusted for this race. That is an interesting pit entry. Okay, so that is not going right for Claessen's, and of course, good news though for the guys behind him who will move up a place.
Something to note down for Project Cars 2.
Ooh.
But
well, the car's going upside down in the garage.
No. Well, just the smoother transition between the two.
All right.
But yeah, just jumped up to TonyR, who looks like he may have struggled a little bit there with the tyres going through the Skyline section. Just kisses the wall coming down through the S's now into the dipper, but this gap between the two, TonyR and Dinder, hasn't really moved much. TonyR took 2 seconds out of Dinder on the previous lap, but visually still looks to be the same like it was previously.
Yeah, it's hard to spot in terms of visual on the track, a difference of 2/10. So yeah, these cars are just very equal on pace, to be honest. And Kaki continuing to dominate though. He's in the 203s, while these guys in second and third are in the 204s. Dinder now coming up to a lap. Rhaegar, that would be, who's teaching on the edge of the points, I believe, in this race. He's on the last point position, 16th place. And he's let Dinder go through safely indeed. And then has to do the same for TonyR, of course. TonyR will be hoping that Rhaegar does it on the straight, maybe, because you don't really want to be catching up to a lapped car
on the mountain.
In this twisty, hilly section. And Rhaegar is unfortunately going to be too far ahead for him. So we might have a bit of a unfortunate situation coming up unless Rhaegar finds a nice place somewhere up here to let him pass regardless. He's surely going to see TonyR coming up behind. Let's see how we will tackle this one. Is always a bit of a nervous moment for TonyR, and Rhaegar does find the outside of that corner there. Not quite as ideal for the lapping car as being let through on the straight, but I don't think TonyR really lost any time there. Luckily.
Yeah, that probably would have been the best place to have done it, because I can't really think of anywhere else other than here where TonyR is right now to do it. Where obviously coming out of that corner, Tony would have moved over to the left-hand side of the circuit, and if Rhaegar basically just slammed on the brakes whilst he was doing that, he would have stepped past. Well, not slammed on the brakes, but got on the brakes in a sensible fashion. It would have allowed TonyR to slip past before they actually get down into the Skyline section. But yeah, nice to see that the drivers are being sensible. Kaki still driving away. You could actually see one of his championship contenders, one of his rivals, Kanuma, there up the road just in front of him. That is going to be quite a big blow to Kanuma to see Kaki coming up behind in the rear view mirror.
That pains.
They're within, if they're within 2 seconds, he's within 2 seconds. Kanuma should be able to see Kaki, but not too sure if that's a 2 second gap or not. I think it might be a little bit more, so he probably can't quite see him yet, but obviously Kaki can very easily see Kanuma there in front of him, and I imagine Kaki's probably sat with quite a big grin on his face as he's already gone past Gronstra.
Yep. As I can say, it paints a nice picture of the final 3 races or so, in terms of how the... Oh, as Karki has stopped it!
What?
Karki has stopped his car going up the hill. What has happened here? Jinder's still going behind. Why has Karki stopped his car from the lead of the race in the middle of the track? And he's out! Oh my goodness. Karki is out of the race. That must have been a disconnection.
That must have been. There's no way in hell Karki would have just retired for the race for no reason.
That is absolute craziness. That means Dinda is now leading the race. That is unfortunate for Karki. There is no way to get back in the lobby and continue where he left off, obviously, and it's going to be it would have taken him too long time anyway. Yeah.
That was pretty close there by TonyR, and I believe that may have been Gronstra.
Doesn't really matter. What does matter?
I think it was Gronstra, but
is that the gap between Dinda and the gap between Dinda and Tony now is not for second, it's for the lead of the race. Oh, that's heartbreaking for Karki. I mean, in terms of the championship, he still has a decent buffer, considering his rivals Kanuma and Gronstra aren't really scoring any points and won't be gaining much regardless. But of course, he was on course to basically guarantee himself the title now. He would have only needed a few points from the final 3 races, but now it's gonna be a tougher task. I mean, he'll still surely be confident in taking the title, but it's the kind of things you just don't need. And of course, he's taken away the race win, which is another thing that he obviously would have wanted, that he obviously deserves here after his performance. And it's just a big shame. If not for the championship, it's a big shame for Karki that he isn't gonna be getting what he deserves from this race.
No, it's a really big shame. Oh no, TonyR's gonna run wide into turn 1, Hell's corner there as well. We're kind of hoping that Tony would catch up to the back of Dinda and have a little battle for first. The new first position TonyR currently holding second. I see a number of people in the chat as well cheering on Tony to close that gap, but ran wide that in that first turn, which would have cost him a fair amount of time. And it looks like the gap may have increased a little bit as well, but man, that's such a shock, a surprise and disappointment. Obviously, Karki's probably not going to be happy with
You can safely say that he's not going to be
happy. Sorry?
I think you can quite safely say that he's not going to be happy.
Yeah. Hopefully he still has a PC by the end of tonight.
That would be good, yes.
Yeah.
What this also has done is move Ycoms back into the podium positions, where he was running in the first few laps of the race before being replaced by Tony. So he's first podium for quite a while, and Sula has gone up to 4th on his debut, so whoever predicted him to have the pace for 4th is actually right, even though it wasn't quite through his own pace, it was through Karki's disconnection, but still, he's up in 4th. Regardless, very solid performance on his debut. Jellyfish in 5th, Nostra in 6th, also a solid race for him. Haven't really looked at him too much since the early stages. And
he dropped down into 14th on that first lap, didn't he?
Didn't he? Yeah. He was the Bentley that was kind of half sideways after turn 2. He's had a great recovery drive as Nostra. And then Gibbs still holding the gap to Maisie. And then Papan is now in the back of this. This could be a battle now, actually, in the last lap and a half. Papan, just behind Maisie and Gibbs, will be looking at getting 7th instead of 9th on the fresher tires.
Almost 3 seconds on the previous lap, the difference between Maisie and Papand.
Wow.
Such as the fresh rubber that Papand will have. Obviously, the other guys will be a lot more cautious, especially down this section with very little tyre grip. Whereas Papand, this is probably where he's going to be making most of his time. And you can see, once again, Maisie closing up to the back of Gibbs across this mountain section. And then when they come out of the dipper hit, and then onto the Conrad straight, these 3 guys are going to be awfully close. It looks like that Maisie has been the closest that he's been to the back of Gibbs for quite a long time, these 3 cars.
But now has to contend with Papan as well.
Papand, is going to try. He's pulled out the slipstream, but
he's not gaining.
So he's gone and lost the the hole and the speed advantage that he would have been gaining. They're all coming now onto the brakes. It looks like it's going to be relatively neat and tidy by the three guys going to follow each other through for the moment. But Papan's going to have the traction coming out of the chicane there, coming down towards the final turn. He's going to have to try and make a move around the outside as Mays is going defensive. Papan has gone and made the move stick. Absolutely fantastic driving there by the two drivers, giving each other plenty of room. No contact given between the two cars. Papan's going to slip himself up into 8th, and now he's going to be heavily pressurising Gibbs as he comes out of Hell Corner and now up the mountain straight towards turn 2. He's got the slipstream here over the McLaren. Doesn't quite look like, even though he's got the slipstream, he's going to have the speed, but coming over the top of the mountain section, surely Papan is going to have the edge over Gibbs.
Yeah, that was a great move on Maisie. It just much more daring on the brakes. Obviously, he can push a lot more with those fresh tires as well. And now he's going to go around the outside again. Surely not on that corner. He's going to pull it off. He's claimed the inside going up the hill there. And that's Gibbs. Is going to be super brave around the outside on the next corner. This is not a place where he's going to be satisfied. Gibbs hanging on at the moment with a touch of the wall. And Maisie might even try to get something back if he's lucky here. And Papan somehow didn't make that move sticky. It looked to be having his car ahead for a moment. But Gibbs somehow holding on to that position, quickly gonna jump to Dindo's. He's won the race, yeah. So we're gonna go back to him in just a second. Dindo's won the race. I believe his first win in the Elite League, unless I'm mistaken. And then, of course, Papan trying still to get past Gibbs. Can he try to get something done into the corner at the bottom of the hill? No, he will not. And now he has to do it on the straight. He's gotten a much better exit out of the corner, but he's lost it. He's stopped. Has
Papan's disconnected as well.
Oh my goodness. With 3 corners to go in the race, Papan has suffered the same fate even as Kaki had. That is another heartbreak, and yet there he goes. Oh my god, that is just not what we want to see, of course. Big shame. But that means that Gibbs is going to be able to hold on to this position. It is not 11th place, I believe it's 7th. That we are actually battling for here. He's going to hold on from Maisie, which is done all race pretty much. Unless Maisie's going to be cheeky towards the line. No, he's not. Too far back. And Gibbs is very happy, weaving across the line there. Very happy with that performance. I'm going to try and figure out who's next across the line. Oh, there's a battle. Kanuma and Gronstra battling for 50. Kanuma's dropped a few places then, actually. These are Kaki's closest challengers, battling for 2 points and 1 point in the race. Obviously, Kaki's not going to extend the gap like he wanted to, but these guys are not going to be closing in much whatsoever. Kanuma gets 2 points. Gronstra gets 1 point. Oh, no, actually, no. That's the positions messing up. They're actually battling for 10. They're going to get several points. Kanuma's going to get many points. And Gronstra's going to actually get quite a few as well, despite being 21st midway through the race. So, okay. They're still not going to close the gap too much to Kaki. They're going to close it a lot more than we were confused into thinking. But Dinda taking advantage most out of Kaki's unfortunate disconnection. He wins his first race in the Elite League with a gap of around 3 or so seconds to Tony, whose tires wasn't in the best state at the end. He's now back in the garage, but still a very strong performance. His first podium of the season as well. Same can be said for Ycoms in the Bentley. He's finished on the podium. A strong performance. And Sula on his debut, 4th position. Cannot complain with that whatsoever. Showing straight away that he has the pace to challenge in the elite division. Jellyfish in 5th. And then the Wizard of Nos in 6th. Gibbs 7th on his elite debut. Maisie there 8th. And Drex, and then of course Kanuma and Gronstra, who are not in the last 2 positions. They are in 10th and 11th. And Freda, Rhaegar, Blue Rat, Silver Arrow, and Dangerous Gianazza actually scoring a point there, which I haven't seen too many times this season. That's nice to see. And of course, quite a few non-finishers. Hideaki, Martin van der Ben, Centro, Brownski, Mini Black, and a few more that hasn't quite had the race of their lives.
Oh man, tough. Really tough for both Kaki and Papan. Papan looked to be in such a strong position as well to challenge Gibbs.
Yeah.
into the last few corners. We could see he had the straight line speed over Maisie, and Maisie wasn't really gaining on Gibbs at all down the straight, so there may have possibly been a chance for the two drivers of Gibbs and Papan to be very close coming into the chicane, where it could have been very, very tense between the two drivers, but it's really unfortunate to see the drivers disconnect, especially during the race and especially in the last lap as well for Papan.
Good evening, TonyR. If you are up for an interview.
Oh, yeah, I am.
There you are, yes.
Yay!
Oh, hi guys, I didn't expect that.
Well, it's your first podium of the season. You must be relatively pleased.
Really, for the first time? Ah, yeah, I screwed up the Road America race.
Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah, pretty happy with it. I mean, we expected it to be pretty much in the top 5 of the McLaren on this track. However, yeah, I think top 3 was a nice touch.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, obviously, with Kaki.
Yeah.
What can we say? Very unfortunate disconnection.
Yeah.
But I'm sure.
I mean, I consider myself getting the 3rd place technically, but yeah, podium's podium.
Yeah, I guess morally you might sort of say got the 3rd place, but technically you did get 2nd. So
Yeah.
How was this track to drive then for you? After it's not been the best season for you so far, but a bit of an upturn now. How do you?
Unfortunately, because of less practice time, not the best season. Yeah. However, Bathurst, one of my favorite tracks, besides Imola, probably the favorite track, and I really love driving here. Always a bit of a trouble with single screen, because the walls are on the left and the right, always a bit of a problem, but I arranged my camera so it was okay. Yeah, nice racing. I think Dundas, yeah, he was really my opponent here in this race, and he was really on pace as well.
Yeah, it looked like the two of you were very, very, very close. Yeah, I was just about to pick up on the pace between the two of you, kind of trading lap times, as it were. It was more of a gap battle than an actual race between the two. But you dropped a position at the start, didn't you? I think you slowed down into 4th. And then,
actually, I tried to start. I tried to start good. Yeah, that's what you usually do. But when Kaki accelerated, I accelerated as well. But all the other guys behind me were faster on the throttle for some reason, and well, that caught me off guard a little bit. And actually, I didn't see Ycoms besides me, so that was very lucky that we didn't crash. And well, he was by then, but I could overtake him with a kind of risky maneuver, maybe.
Yeah.
Well,
no, it was fun.
I'm trying to remember the actual move that he pulled off to get back past.
It was right before the chase. So the typical slipstream hunt down the, what is it, the Conrad straight or the downhill straight, and well, on the little kink, I just went to the inside and took a little bit the curb in the middle of the car, so I don't hit him while going wide in the kink, and then I was by. I noticed in the laps before that the McLaren can brake later than the Bentley, though that was the big plus going into the chase then.
Yeah. I think you were 8th position in championship going into this race. I think you might be moving up a couple of spots on this one. So,
I hope so.
Getting close to that top 10, so maybe it's not quite that bad after all.
Yeah, but, I like Monza as well, so next track will be nice as well. So
yeah, well done on the podium, and obviously hope to see you up there again in Monza.
Thank you very much, Vizzy. Thank you very much, Yoshi. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Right, see you later, man.
Bye bye.
Hello.
Hello, Sula.
Hi.
Welcome to Elite with a great performance. How are you feeling?
Thank you. I'm feeling great. I'm really happy that I got the top 10. Oh, actually the top 5.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you did better than the top 10.
Yeah.
4th place. It was really, really strong performance for your first outing in Elite. Obviously, decent qualifying, which set you up quite nicely for the race, and then couple of battles, the odd mistake here or two, but all around,
Yes.
very good, strong performance.
Thank you. I missed the start, to be honest. I didn't really hear the engines going, so I was like a second late with the start. Then I held my position for a while. I got behind Ycoms, and I was in a slipstream, and you have the hairpin going downhill right before the very long straight.
Yep.
I take that really carefully because I'm quite scared in the corner. And I was right behind Ycoms, so I wanted to get a good exit so I could overtake him on the straight, but I lost the car completely and I hit the wall. So basically the whole race I was running with damage, and I was down on top speed by like 10 kilometers per hour.
Okay, I was going to ask how bad was the damage, because I saw you losing the car and hitting the wall at a time when you were obviously chasing down Ycoms, but me anyway, I'm not too sure about Fizzy. The damage on the car didn't look too bad. You couldn't really see anything on there, so you said
relatively fine.
Yeah, was it?
Yeah.
You said 10 kilometers.
Yeah,
down
it
straight.
was not bad enough to fit, but it's still kind of a disadvantage. I mean, it's not completely my own fault as well.
Yeah, I guess you'll feel
Yeah.
it more in the cockpit than we'll see on the street. That's what we
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, certainly
imagine.
it's been a very impressive debut. Don't know if we've had too many better debuts, to be honest, in Elite, in terms of people moving up for Pro anyway. So I think you're gonna be proud of that one.
I'm really proud of that race.
Yeah.
Yes.
One
thank
quick
you.
last question. Monza is the next track. How are you feeling for that one?
I've never driven Monza with the GT3, so it's going to be interesting. I mean, this race, I'm in a turbo car, so my position is kind of inflated, as I have a big advantage over the other cars.
Yep.
So next race we'll see how I really perform.
Cool. Look forward to it.
Yes.
So
me
well done,
too.
man, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, see you next week.
What? Gibbs, mate!
Hello.
Hello!
Hello.
You're live
Drive
for
it.
2 million people. How are you
I
feeling?
am alive. I'm feeling. I don't actually know. It's
It's a
great.
driver interview, my friend. We do these at the end of the races, as you're probably sure.
Yeah.
You're aware,
No,
yeah.
I'm feeling really good. I'm sweating big time, but no, really good. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a good, strong race for you. You started in 11th?
12th, I think. Yeah,
11th
12th.
or 12th.
P12.
Yeah, you finished in P7, so a good few places gained. Obviously, you had the monster move around the outside of Claessens, I believe it was, coming into the second turn. Happy with that one?
Yeah, I was. When I initially got up on the left, I wanted to go on the left side because I didn't really want to dive down the inside. There was a risk of drifting across. So I went around the outside and just sort of left him as much room as I could and tried to sort of keep the power, and I managed to sneak around the outside, so I was pretty happy with that.
That was a very good move. Fizzy was enjoying it quite a lot.
Yeah, it was one of the moves of the race. Push there.
I think the result may be mainly because the McLaren suits this track quite well, but I tried my best.
Yeah.
Also, I know that Claessens was struggling a lot on the straight lines, but in the corners he was doing really well.
Yeah, certainly in the McLaren you did seem to have quite a straight line advantage. Obviously, you held on from Maisie for such a long time as well, where it seemed that sometimes he would get really close to you going down at the bottom of the hill, and then you just pull away on the straight.
Yes. Yeah. The other problem I was facing was engine damage. I don't think I was running enough radiator, so I was trying to short shift and to keep the engine temperature down.
Alright.
And then towards the end, where I didn't pit, I hit the wall and I've got 14 suspension damage on the rear right, so that didn't help.
Yeah.
But the last 2 laps were just icy, and Maisie was just all over me.
Yeah, and Papan joined in before he disconnected.
That was scary. I didn't know if I hit him off or what happened. He just stopped.
Yeah. Same happened with Kaki, just stopped and then
Yeah.
disappeared after 10 seconds or so.
Yeah. He was quite gutted.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
Yes, indeed. But yeah, I guess you did well to hold on from racing in, and yeah, I'm quite positively surprised about your performance after moving up before this race, I'm going to say. So well done, man.
Thank you very much.
Might be a half decent driver after all.
well, I'm going to practice a lot more for the rest of the races because I didn't know till today. So
Yeah, that's good.
I
to
probably
hear,
did about an hour practice. So
Alright,
yeah.
man. Well, good
Cheers for
luck,
that.
and we'll see you next time at Monza.
thank you very much.
Guys, bye.
Bye. Bye.
Oh god.
So that's it for Bathurst. What track are we at next week, Yorkie? If you even can
Monza.
remember. Of course, yeah, we mentioned many times in interviews. So it's me
Yes.
that doesn't remember, even though I'm brain dead. Okay, so.
Or at least I'm hoping it is Monza because you said Monza
Well,
first.
everyone has
I'm
said
just going
Monza,
off
so
that.
it better be Monza. I'm going to update the graphics, and yes, indeed, it is Monza next week. 35 laps. Pretty late starting though. We're starting 9 p.m. in-game time. That could be some darkness potentially, could it?
Yes, I'd imagine so.
Maybe some sunset or something. So that
Yeah,
could
it'll be late
interesting.
sunset.
Right, and of course, interested to see how Kaki will react to the blow-off being disconnected. But of course, he will still have a good amount of a gap in the championship, about 50-something points. Yeah, over Kanuma and Gronstra. So should be decent, unless of course he gets disconnected again. That would be
Hopefully not.
the ultimate blow, but yeah, fingers crossed on that one. And of course, those of you watching this on YouTube later will see the updated standings on your screen right about now.
Should we announce the Janetta thing on the stream?
Guess we can.
Let's do it on
I
the
guess.
stream.
Sure, why
Yeah,
not?
so if you guys follow Project Cars on Twitter at all, they have partnered up with Janetta to host an esports tournament in November and December. It's across 2 weekends. It's on all platforms, Xbox One, PS4 and PC. But essentially, across the 3 platforms, there is £5,000 worth of prizes. £1,500 for each winner on the platform. And then there's 3 GoPro Hero 4s, I think. One of the GoPro cameras. There's 3 of them going to any random entrant who signs up to the league. If you go over to Project Cars Esports, you should be able to find all the details there. We'll also be throwing up some stuff on the AOR website because we are actually going to be hosting the live streams for that, for both the console and also the PC. So
Well,
keep
you'll be
an
doing
eye
the
out for the
consoles,
dates.
and I'll be doing the PC with you, of course.
Yes.
Very similar to this, but obviously with a field of Janettas fighting for quite a bit of money, so that should be interesting.
Yeah, very, very exciting and announcing stuff. And obviously the whole esports thing, Project Cars are trying to make a fairly big push in that. And this is one of those kind of fairly significant steps with some really good, decent amount of prize money that a lot of people will probably want to get their hands on. So go over to projectcarsesports.com. You should be able to find the information there. It's partnered up with Janetta.
What were the dates again?
Esports Cup. The dates are, I believe, the time trial section is the end of November.
Mid-end November, isn't it? Yeah. So,
Yeah,
The
so
dates are obviously on the
around-
website there, but yeah, so I guess you need to have signed up by then, and then obviously take part in that, and then it's the 15 top time trialers who get into a semi-final and final race split, if I remember correctly.
Yep, which are hosted on the 3rd and 4th of December, I believe.
And those are the
That
parts that will
weekend.
be streamed, obviously.
Yep, the consoles will be on the Saturday. That's both consoles. One during, I guess, late morning, early afternoon, and then the other console will be later on in the afternoon and into the evening, and then the PC will be live streamed on the Sunday. So really, really cool. Go check that out. Get yourself signed up if you feel like you could be in a chance of winning £1,500, or if you fancy trying to win a GoPro, just sign up to it, participate, and you're in with a chance of doing that because The 3 winners are picked completely at random.
Sick. Hopefully some of you guys want to get involved with that one. And in terms of AOR though, for today, it is lights off rather than lights out, because we're done with the stream. So I'm going to thank you all for watching this. Thank you all who stuck with us in the chat, and everyone who's watching on YouTube later as well. And we will see you next week at the same time, 8 PM UK time on Wednesday night next week for Monza for round 10. Only 3 rounds to go, it's getting to the business end, and I'm very much looking forward to it. See you all later. Goodbye.
Thank you, goodbye.